All right, everybody, this is Crack Tiger, and today I want to talk about spiritual callings. So a spiritual calling is when you can feel within yourself that there's something you should be doing, and it's almost like a voice telling you that you need to do this. But the only reason I want to talk about it today is because I noticed that a lot of people, they don't actually follow these callings. They hit a wall and give up, or they decide off the bat that it's too hard for them, even though they feel they should do it. So what I want to do today is go through a couple of my experiences with actually following these callings. I know in my first video I went on and on about being a failure for the last 4 years, but the biggest successes that I have seen in my life came from these callings. So first off, when I was growing up, I was fucking ugly. I had these nerdy glasses, I had braces, I had acne all over my face. I kept a horrible haircut of spikes in the front and flat in the back, and I dressed like shit and had a big crooked nose, slightly cockeyed, and I figured I'm just a ugly person, and that's the way that it is, and it sucks, but that's the fucking way it's gonna be forever. And then after I graduated, I got in a fight with this guy outside of the place that I worked at. He was a customer, and I got pissed off at him, and it was let's meet out back. And I got my jaw cracked and wired shut for a month, and went down to 96 pounds as a 19-year-old. And it was horrible. I looked like a straight up crack addict. But then I got in so much trouble at this place I was working at that I had people after me, and I was working night shift by myself, and I knew I couldn't be there. I was going to get myself shot. So I was really blessed that a new owner came in and took over. And I went to him and I told him, I can't work here anymore. I'm going to have to quit. And he told me I could quit if I wanted, but he could also transfer me to another store that he owned. So I did that. And I ended up working with all these like real peaceful Hindus and Muslims from like India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And at the time I was drinking nonstop and popping pills and all this shit. And I really, being around them made me feel like shit, because they took such good care of their health and everything, and I was always drunk and hungover and sick all the time and skinny, and I felt horrible. My health was falling apart, and I knew it. I was coughing up phlegm and shit. And one day I was hanging out with one of my friends, and we got 2 full liquor bottles, one for each of us, to finish in the same night, and a couple of painkillers, like either Oxycontin or Percocets. And what we did was we guzzled in liquor and chopped up the pills on a plate and snorted them up. So a little bit after doing that, I had done this before, but on this day I just felt horrible. I felt like I couldn't lift my arms up. They went weak and numb in my chair, and my head fucking falling down. And I told my friend, you gotta go home. So he left, and I ended up throwing up in a garbage can for hours of vomiting. And I told myself in that moment that I'm done with this. I don't care how much I fiend for it again. I'm not going to do it again. I'm done. And I need to get my health in check. And I did. I never touched a pill again, actually. I never popped one, never snorted one. And I gave up liquor. And that day, I just suddenly woke up and didn't need it anymore. Fuck, I gotta piss like a motherfucker. So, these people who I was working with, they really influenced me to start taking care of my health. And I wasn't going to do what they did with their strict, like, vegetarian diets and stuff like that. But I decided I was going to get to the gym every single day, no matter what. No matter how sick I felt, no matter how tired I felt, no matter how much I wanted to drink, I was going to the gym every single day from now on, because I needed to fix this. So I did, and I went. I would the first week or so, my gym was right across from the liquor store, and I would get in the parking lot and I would sit there for a half hour chain smoking cigarettes and staring at that liquor store, wanting to just say, fuck the gym, I'm gonna go get a drink. And once I would finally get the nerve to go walk in, I would go do this stupid workout. It was the only thing I knew how to do. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to work out. And but still, I just went there every single day, no matter what, and did this bullshit workout that made no sense. And a couple months into it, this guy, who I actually hated from a distance because he would walk around real loud and grunting and slam the weights on the floor, and I was all skinny and weak and intimidated already. But he just came in one day and walked up to me and was like, I'm going to show you how to work out. And to this day, 7 years later now, most of what I do in my workout is what he taught me on that day, along with other stuff that I added and figured out on my own. But I see that just by putting myself in the position to succeed, I was granted the guidance that I needed to succeed. Just by being dedicated enough to go there, I was in position to learn how to actually do what I was trying to do. Even though I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, I was completely incompetent and didn't know the first thing about bodybuilding. Just by being there, I got what I needed. And then my second calling was, it actually started when I was 8 years old. When my mom rented the movie Mulan, Disney movie, Mulan. And I didn't want to watch it, and she forced me to with my sister. And there's one scene where Mulan is walking through like this temple or something, and it shows the old, it's called Hanzi, the Chinese characters. And at the time, I had no idea that like people from other countries would use a different alphabet. I thought A, B, C, that's all I knew. And so I asked my mom, like, what are those things on the wall? And she told me that's how Chinese people write. And there was a part of me that like couldn't believe this, and I was fascinated by it. Like, they actually understand these little pictograph things, and I was really interested in it. But I assumed by looking at it as an 8-year-old that nobody could learn this. No American could ever learn this. And then when I went to high school, I had a classmate who was straight from China, and somebody else actually asked him if he could write in Chinese, and he said yes. And again, I couldn't believe it, which is pretty fucking ignorant that I couldn't believe a Chinese person could write in Chinese. But I was surprised. So I went up to him and I had him teach me a couple characters. And he was real stubborn. He wouldn't teach me any more than these couple characters, and he wouldn't teach me how to pronounce them. I think he was insecure about his accent or something like that. But even with just these little handful of characters that he taught me, I spent every class, I wasn't paying attention to school at all, but I spent every class just writing these characters over and over and over again in my notebook. And I loved writing them. And so when I graduated, I found out my community college offered a course in Mandarin. So I signed up for it immediately. And after the first 2 semesters, I was the only person left in the class. And I was really fortunate. I had a great teacher who continued teaching the class, which was just me, for 2 more semesters. And then I ended up leaving the fast food place that I was working at to work at a place where the clientele is pretty much all Chinese, and that was the only reason I went there, was because they were all Chinese. I had no interest in what it actually was. And once I was over there, I developed some of my best friendships to this day with people who couldn't speak English at all. My last 3 girlfriends all couldn't speak English at all, and one of them I've been with for 3.5 years. And I just see that if I didn't follow these 2 callings, what would I be? I wouldn't have the job I have now, which I complained about in my last video, but I see that it was a necessary step, and it's time to leave now. But It's what I needed at the time, and it really helped me build up my Chinese. And if I didn't do it, I don't know what I would do. I'd still be working at Dunkin' Donuts, sick and drunk and high all the time. So by listening to these callings, I completely changed my life. And by not listening to these callings for the last 4 years or so, I haven't grown whatsoever, and I haven't done anything with the things that I've learned and the things that I've accomplished. So what I'm saying is, when you get your calling, just go do it. I talk to a lot of people who will tell me something that I know is their calling, like something random. I have a friend who says that he feels he should start playing the guitar. So I asked him a couple months later, like, did you start playing the guitar? And he said, no. Like, why? Just start. I know he has time to do it. And you don't know what's going to come out of it. I didn't know how I would feel after getting myself in shape. I didn't have anything to base it on. I always felt sick and tired and weak. I didn't know what it felt like to be strong. I didn't know I would feel the way that I feel right now. That wasn't in my head. It was just I need to get to a gym. I didn't know that I would have all these romantic relationships with women who couldn't speak English. That wasn't the point. I just did it because I liked Chinese. I liked the language and the writing. And I was being told to do it. It was obvious I had to do it. There was almost like no choice. So I could have looked at, in writing Mandarin, if you've ever seen these characters, some of them are like 15 lines. These lines have to be written in a specific order too, not just copying what you see as the little character, but it's written specifically in a certain order. So I could have looked at that and been like, fuck that. That's way too hard. It's hard enough just to write these little characters as they are. But I would have given up all that I have now. I wouldn't have had the job. I wouldn't have had the girlfriends, because I would just be weak and say it's too fucking hard for me. It's not. And the big thing is, when I was following through with these two things, I wasn't brilliant. I was failing a class in community college. I failed 2 languages throughout high school and middle school. Yet when I was learning Mandarin, there was not one single night that I was up late cram studying or stressing about anything. It was just natural, because it was what I was supposed to be doing. And then, like I said, with working out, it was just natural. Somebody came up to me and taught me how to do it. So just by putting myself there, all that I needed came to me. So, fuck, I gotta piss so bad. So when you get your calling, follow that shit, motherfucker.